Alright, so check it out. So today I'm installing a Berk test pipe on the S2. Yeah, so it is catless. I used to have one, then I sold it and put back the OEM cat. But I think with the HKS exhaust, the OEM cat's a little bit too quiet. So I figured I'd just get the Berk again. It's a 63.5 millimeter pipe size. And yeah, it's a pretty simple install. I mean, you jack up the car. You can actually access it by just jacking up this side of the car, but if you want, you could jack up the car on all fours. It'll make the job a lot easier. Now if you guys have a 2003 or newer S2000, then you're definitely going to need a defouler. So you can get so this Berk one actually comes with a built-in defouler, but it doesn't work on 2003 or newer S2000s. So you definitely need a defouler, or else you're gonna get a check engine light. This defouler here is actually just two spark plug spacers. For two of them is like 11 bucks. So you just screw them in together, and then you screw it in here, and that'll give you enough spacing so that the O2 sensor doesn't throw a check engine light. You can also buy like a blocks one, or you can buy a 90-degree one. It doesn't matter, they all work. I think for the AP2s, it's going to throw a code regardless, but for AP1s, yeah, you just need a spacer. Screw this in here. You're also going to need a big 22 mil, and that's to remove your O2 sensor. You can also use a O2 sensor tool. Okay, so there's your OEM cat. So you have 3 bolts back there, and you got 2 connected to the header. So I believe Alright, so these are 12 mils. So this is a 12 mil, and so is this one. So you need a 12 millimeter wrench, and the bolt and nut size here might vary. I'm using different bolts, but I believe the OEM ones are, I want to say 16 mil. Alright, so get under your car. First thing I recommend is removing the O2 sensor. Now I do recommend that you actually just remove the clip. So follow the O2 sensor line. And I'll take you to this clip here. This might be a pain in the ass to take out, but the reason why I recommend taking it out, because as you unscrew this, the wires get twisted up, and you don't want to damage your wire. So yeah, just go ahead and unclip it, and yeah, use your 22 mil to remove this afterwards. Alright, so if you're having trouble getting this clip out, you're going to hold this tab down with your right hand, and then get a screwdriver, wedge it in between, and then turn the screwdriver, and that should be enough to get it out. So just grab your 22 millimeter wrench and go ahead and just break this loose, and then it comes out very easily with it unclipped. Alright, next up, use your 12 millimeter wrench and socket to remove these 2 bolts, and then also on the other side. You may have to put some WD-40 to get these out. Alright, and then remove the 3 holding in the cat to the exhaust. Alright, so OEM cat is out. Now be careful, it is pretty heavy. You don't want to be directly underneath while you're removing this because it will fall on top of you. Yeah, so I guess basically if you're interested in installing a test pipe, there are pros and cons to it. The pro of the OEM cat is that, well, it's OEM, it's actually a very efficient catalytic converter, but they do go bad over time and they're very expensive to replace. That being said, if you get a test pipe, you have no more cat, so you don't have to worry about it, and test pipes are very cheap. But the downside is that your car is a bit louder and you also won't pass emission laws. But, you know, apparently, even if you're not tuned, a test pipe will provide some gains, especially on the AP ones. They seem to do very well on the AP ones. But yeah, so there are pros and cons to both. Another pro of test pipes is that they actually reduce the drone of your exhaust. This actually captures a lot of the drone, and which is why when you're driving you hear a lot of drone in the cabin. But a test pipe helps relieve that. And they're also a lot lighter, so you save some weight savings there. I think the test pipe I have is like only 8 pounds, and this seems like 25 or something pounds. So yeah. Alright, so make sure you have a new gasket for the exhaust side. If not, make sure you get a new one, or else you're gonna have an exhaust leak. And then on this side you have a donut gasket. These are usually a lot more durable. You don't have to replace them too often. So I'm leaving mine as is. Alright, so that's how it looks installed. In terms of torque specs, these are torqued to 16 foot-pound, and these bolts are torqued to 25 foot-pound. Your O2 sensor, I normally just hand tighten it. It's a sensor, so you don't want to over tighten it and damage it. But yeah, that's how essentially it looks with the spacer. And then don't forget to clip the O2 sensor back into the correct spots. And then yeah, we'll do a cold start.